Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to tonight's edition of Beyond the Ordinary Show. And tonight we're in for an electrical treat, shifting into the quantum. And a lot of y'all are familiar with Raquel, but if you're not, she's definitely somebody who's impacted my life in so many different ways and really invited me into an access that perhaps I wouldn't have gotten to through the awareness and the energy and the attunement to an energy that or a doorway that I wasn't aware of was open before. And it's, again, in the 10 years I've been doing the show, I'd have to say that Raquel has been extremely influential in my own growth, in friendship in different ways, and how we've gone in and out of the waves of that to expand to where we are now. So it's always an expansive, energetic when Raquel's on, and today's going to be no different. I am sure of it. We may or may not open up to Q&A. We're going to be with the flow because so much energy is shifting now as we've gone through this big full moon yesterday, as we're going into the equinox tomorrow. And we tap into today's conversation, which is on sacred union, the inner journey. And we're going to get into why that understanding and the energetics of that is so important, and what it means to you personally. If you're not familiar with Raquel, let me read you a little bit from her bio. So Raquel's a specialist referred to across the universe as a multidimensional energy and cellular light specialist. One of her main contracts, missions, and directives is to bring through the most advanced energy technologies to help the human body repair and evolve to hold higher levels of light intelligence. So a lot of y'all have heard me on the show talking about the embodiment process, how we're attuning to new energies. And again, the way that Raquel refines it and helps us attune to it really at the highest octave is just, it's something to experience. Now for decades, she's been continuously integrating her higher light body codes, we've also been upgrading our physical bodies and increasing our frequency to facilitate our remembering. As we raise the frequency which flows through our physical body and activate our original blueprint and light body, we gain access to these higher states of consciousness. And Raquel, with that, welcome back to another live call on Beyond.
Thank you. I'm really, really happy to be back and kind of giggling. It was the equinox time when I came on earlier this year. So there's definitely a flow with that equinox energy that here we are again on the flip side of 2021. And I'm really, really happy to be here.
Well, I appreciate you being on here, and let's just dive in. We can get into a little bit about the equinox energies and all that, but I really want to get into this topic of sacred union. What is sacred union to you? Because there's a lot of people with different definitions of what that means.
There is, and there's lots of different levels of sacred union as well. But the sacred union that I'm truly talking about that plays into the concept of unity consciousness is the sacred union within. And it's the balancing of the divine masculine and the divine feminine within your own body structures, the particle, antiparticle. The way that I talk about it, it's not very sexy. Because a lot of people, they think sacred union and that's between two people and, this beautiful lovemaking of sharing energies. And that's a very, very limited understanding of what true sacred union is. Because each of us are on a journey to bring back that sacred union, sacred marriage, sacred blending of the aspect of the divine masculine and the divine feminine that we all hold. May not be holding it at the moment, but as we continue through this awakening process, this ascension process, and boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, is it a process, right? This is not a one and done. It's like, oh my gosh, here I am 10 years later, and it's like, it's like, when's this going to happen? Right. Because it's a massive process, and to really understand and take it back to truly a death and rebirth process that we're doing, and we're doing it across the globe. It's a huge undertaking. But the sacred union that I'm really talking about is being able to embody the divine masculine and divine feminine. And I really don't even like those words. They're so misunderstood here. But we work with such a limited vocabulary in this reality. I mean, it's a very dense, very open to a lot of different interpretations, right? But when we really get down to it, it is the particle level, the anti-particle level at the magnetic that we're talking about. And again, I know everybody's like, boo, that doesn't sound fun. Sacred union, sexually sounds a lot better. But it's about coming to wholeness. It's about unity within, and it's about the way in which your cellular magnetic framework in this reality can balance. And that's part of the reason I did do it in the equinox. It's like perfect, because we're trying to come back into balance, and it's not ever a one and done. You come into a certain level where you've got a level of divine feminine and masculine that's merged, and then guess what? Then we up level, and you have to go through a whole nother level of balancing, and then you get that one, and then it's even higher into another octave of consciousness, another octave of these levels of information and connection that you have to integrate. And it's a continuous, right? It keeps moving into higher levels of more and more and more refined balance of everything that the divine feminine holds and everything the divine masculine holds. And again, it's such polarized language here, because masculine, it's not any of that. It's about, even down to what functions does the divine feminine frequency operate within your physical body? What function does the divine masculine energy, the anti-particle or the particle, how does that run your system, your nervous system, your digestive system, sinuses, all of it, there's layer upon layer upon layer upon layer when we talk about really melding these two polarized particle, anti-particle, right? Rod, staff is another way to talk about it. We talk about the rod and staff, and even that language is like, huh? What the hell does that mean, right?
Well, let's make it sexy. Let's make it
sexy.
Let's make it about what it means for me. In other words, all of y'all listening, let's make it about what it means for you, which is our favorite subject, right? Ourselves.
Well, and the reason I kind of try to pull it out of that sexiness, if you will,
right.
Sorry, is because a lot of people on this journey are doing it alone. You don't have to have a partner to have sexual union, right? To have this higher union. It's got nothing to do with anything outside of yourself, but it does have everything to do with your own, right? And so, I do that. I try to take it out of that polarity, because a lot of people, they hear that sacred union and immediately they count themselves out. They don't have a partner that is evolving, or they don't have a partner at all, right? And so they don't understand that, just like activating the Kundalini. Activating the Kundalini isn't about a sexual act. Right. It's an energetic, right? We talk about Tantra, right? Everybody thinks Tantra is, Kundalini Tantra, that's, again, back into the sexual. No, that's a misconception, misused energetic format. So I do that to try to really let you know everyone has access to this. This is your own personal evolution. It's absolutely available to you if you understand and can get past the emotional trigger, right? And understand it really is about two different energetic states of consciousness that are coming back into a merged unified field, a merged unity consciousness within yourself, and how to balance those two, because right now most people are out of balance when it comes to the masculine and the feminine. And even, and then we get into balance and then something else is trying to come in and we have to bring it to another. It's a continuous process of continuing to up level and upshift yourself back into that complete harmony, that complete balance within, of being able to anchor and embody a level of consciousness that opens you up to information streaming in, and a presence that you can hold that affects everything.
What happens, Raquel, to give perspective to everybody on the call, just through self-awareness, what happens, or what do you see when someone's out of balance in that? And then what's the retribution when someone is in balance?
Okay, so out of balance, wow. Just about everything. I mean, honest, and that's not, it's really easy to be out of balance in this reality because of what's happening in the outer world, right? And even we touched on this before, talking about the magnetics of the planet, right? How we are actually changing the magnetics of the planet, how the magnetic levels, right? So as we are in process of this, we're up against some of the strongest pulls to bring us into deep polarity. Look at the world. I mean, we're so polarized. It's not even funny. And it's not just people's opinions. It's literally the magnetics of the planet. It's literally things that have been manipulated and controlled to keep us into a polarized and paralyzed. That was not a Freudian slip, I don't think. A paralyzed state. So it's really easy to fall out of that balance. All you have to do is kind of really go. I mean, I'm finding myself even going to the grocery store and having to get back in my car and go, whoa, okay, let's get back. Whoa, where's my heart? Because we're just getting slammed. And as we came through that full moon, which is, I don't know that I've really broached this with you on this call, and I think I'll just bypass it. I don't think we'll go there. But the full moon, the energies really, really manipulate and impact, especially the divine feminine, especially, they don't call it a full moon lunacy, lunacy because it makes people go psychotic. There's a lot of magnetic that is definitely not aligned around the full moon, around the moon at all. Well, I'm going to go into it. Sorry. Can I tangent for a second?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay. So, and there's going to be there's people who have heard me talk about this, and I may push a lot of buttons with this conversation.
I love it.
So, the moon. Our whole entire civilization, let's just go back to the civilization that we're in right now, just this particular one, right? This current civilization, which our whole framework for the feminine has been to worship the moon, right? Dance under the full moon. Let's do ceremony with the full moon. Let's do, where's the new moon? Oh, that's when, it's really been moon central, right? Everything, when you go back, the goddess ceremonies in the full moon. And I even got into this for a little bit, and not a lot, but I bought into it. Everybody in the metaphysical world, oh, the goddess energy, and oh, the full moon energy. Wow. And then I realized what was happening during the full moon and the negative energetic impact that it has, and how it has been used. It's many of you may know the moon is artificial, right? It was pulled into place. There's even documentation of before the moon was there, right? We only see one side of the moon. Doesn't matter when you're looking at it. That's kind of another giveaway too. But the moon is actually part of what, does the tide. It's the magnetic field. It's all of this, right? With the tides go with the moon. Well, the moon is very magnetic, and it has a purposefully has been keeping the magnetic tilted wrong, out of balance. And so we just came through a very powerful full moon again, which is affecting the cellular level. And it's very much affecting the feminine. It was designed to affect the feminine, right? And so when we come through these full moons, we're even getting hit harder and harder to go out of balance. And so every full moon, we're constantly being hit with energy that magnetically is actually pulling us out of alignment. And yet for thousands of years, the women have worshiped it, right? And it's done nothing but pull us out of our divine power. Kind of a head trip.
Interesting.
Head trip. It's like, wow, right? So we just came through that again. And we're constantly in our environment, the magnetics of the moon, which affects the magnetics of the planet, and the fact that the magnetic of the planet is shifting. That's part of the work we're doing. The planet herself is also going through an ascension and awakening process, right? And so as she continues to wake up, she's always leading the way for us. Gaia doesn't, I call her Gaia. People get mad at me. It's the earth. No, I only know her as Gaia, right? That's how I know her. It's like my best friend. She's Gaia, right? So I call her that. But Gaia is going through this awakening and opening and recalibration and ascension light body process herself. And as she does, we get to follow suit. She leads the way. She holds the larger template. And then once she unlocks, we're able to unlock as well. And so this sacred union of the balancing of the magnetics, the particle, anti-particle, the feminine, masculine energies, the mother energy, the father energy. Again, such polarized wording and kind of archaic. But as this is happening for her, we're now being able to access higher levels of this union, of this balance that were not even possible 6 months ago.
Yeah.
Right. So it's a new opportunity, and it will continue to be a new opportunity. For thousands and thousands of years, you couldn't get any further than, a certain level of that balance. But because of the time and cosmic history that we're in, because of what's happening on a grand scale, on a universal scale, quite frankly, we're being able to, and we're being asked, and we're actually, it's not even asked, we're needing, there's not a lot of choice here. You will continue to awaken, and you will continue to be your body brought into opportunities to come into that balance. And so, the feminine, the masculine, the aggressive, the basics, the aggressive or the emotional, right? That's just the pure, because the feminine side of it deals with the emotional constructs of the body. Mm-hmm. Right. But it goes so much further than that, as far as just truly being able to hold both of those frequencies, regardless what kind of body you're in. Mm-hmm. Doesn't matter, right? You need to hold a balance of feminine and masculine just as much as I need to hold a balance of feminine and masculine. Almost going into an androgynous, not that we're not going to still identify, but that complete balance. And what it does when you're really in that, and again, you'll phase in, and then we're going through awakening and the planet's going through awakening. And so then you'll have to come back into it again. And then you integrate that part of it. And then we're asked to up level again. So this isn't a one and done. This is a state of being that we continuously move towards.
Right.
But the thing to remember is, because of what's happening in the ascension timeline, in the ascension process, we can move into higher states of this sacred union that have never been possible.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like, what? Right? What? Our parents didn't have even the opportunity. There's no way they could have gotten to the levels we're going to be asked to come into. Right. And the sexiness of that, and the reason to want to do that is threefold, right? Number one, you say in a state of balance. I mean, you're able to just go with the flow. Nothing really throws you too far into emotions or aggression or whatever, but it's also what's happening at the bioelectrical, biochemical level of the body.
Right.
So many, and again, I've said this 1,000 times before, and I apologize, but if this is a repeat for people, but spiritual awakening and the ascension is not just a state of mind. It's not just, I'm going to feel more connected and I'm going to meditate and I'm going to feel. It's a physical transformation that is happening all the way into the cellular levels of your body. And 10 years ago, I knew that, but I was kind of like, not sure how that's going to happen. I know it's real. I know our organs and our glands are all multidimensional in nature. They're supposed to be, right? I know that the digestive system isn't working the way it's supposed to. I know the nervous system is not at all how it's supposed to be working in a ascended body, right? But I didn't understand how. And even, I would say even 5 years ago, I was still kind of going, how are we going to do this? I know this is coming, but I don't get it. I don't understand it. I'm saying the words, but it's like, I don't know how this really is. How's this going to play out in this thing, right? In my own body. But it will, and it does. And the sacred union is about continuing as you come into this balance of the divine feminine and the divine masculine. It affects the chemicals. It affects your electrical systems, your nervous system being the biggest, and how your nervous system then runs frequency and is able to have that interpret into your higher mind, not your ego mind, not your reptilian mind, right? But your higher mind, which is that which brings consciousness into something you can relate to. Does that make sense?
It makes a lot of sense. Yeah, absolutely. What do we need to do? Is there something that we need to do, or is this an organic process that we're being facilitated into, and it's about being aware of the flow of it, so
Right.
that we can integrate in a much more graceful fashion?
Yeah, right. Because eventually it will happen. Mm-hmm. And there are those that will, do the inner work that will make this easier. And there are those that will go kicking and screaming, not sure what the hell is happening, and spiral is kind of what they kind of spiral. So much of the population, even right now, which is usually, I'm finding, months, if not years behind the light workers, quite frankly, most of them years behind the light workers in upgrading their physical body. But it's happening, and they have no idea, right? So we do a lot to facilitate this. And of course, my work, I work at the cellular level to help clear it. But this is about dealing with your shit. This is about dealing with the baggage. This is about, you know, the lower 3 chakras, which are still tied into the planetary magnetics. You know, we've been, you know, broken record. We got to clear. And everybody's like, when in the hell are we going to stop clearing? And I'm like, I'm right there with you. When is this going to stop? Right? Yeah. This has been a broken record. How can I not be clear with everything I've done? Right? But it's an evolution. We're in an evolution. And so we hit another level, we do another level of clearing, the body upgrades, and then we have to dig deeper, right? Because the lower 3 chakras, which, man, how much clearing have we done? But they're not going to really be able to clear and go into a higher state until you unplug from the magnetics that are actually playing out on the planet. So I don't care if you've done 1,000 years worth of clearing up until, you know, the last 3 months, you still haven't been able to go deep enough because, and the magnetics are not up, you know, we haven't shifted them over yet. We're in process. So the best thing for you to do to facilitate this sacred union and continue to evolve at the fastest and yet smoothest, let's throw that in, with the least amount of bumps, right, is to continue to be aware and notice when you are out of balance. And, you know, a lot of people are like, well, how do we know? You know when you're out of balance. And you become more self-aware and you ask every day, where in my reality am I out of balance? Show me, you know, spirit, show me, where am I out of balance? Give me a scenario, because your outer reality is an absolute mirror. The people showing up, things happening in, you know, car breaking down, or the dishwasher, you know, or, you know, all these different things. Those are they're all quantum clues of where, I might need to pay attention. Sometimes it takes a little bit of interpretation. You know, how the hell does the dishwasher breaking? What's that got to do with my, you know, ascension awareness? But you go in and it's like, okay, obviously that's about getting clear, cleaning, right? It has to do with water, because it's all about using water to clear. Ooh, that's I mean, you have to kind of be a little quantum detective, which is kind of fun, right? Oh, what the hell? What did that mean in my reality, right? Or why am I continually having the same argument with this person in my life? Or why does this person still rub me wrong, right? Or why does this person, you know, you start looking at the outer reality, because that's a mirror. And I'm talking about your immediate. You can't go big because the world's a mess right now. Oh. It's a shit show out there. I'm sorry. Sorry, my language. Sorry.
But I also find that what we focus on, even politically, or what's going on around the world, is also a reflection of what we're holding inside, because we all do focus on different aspects of what's going on in the world.
We do.
And so if we're resonating towards something, it's like, oh, wow, there's not peace in the Middle East. Where am I creating a war within my own house?
Right. Exactly. And I tend to not really pay attention to the bigger world. I'm kind of weird that way, right?
I don't pay
attention. People have to, my friends have to text me and go, did you know this happened? Oh, okay, thank you. So you're right. If you are focusing in different places out in the outer reality, and why? What is it within you? Right? Because we're all a fractal of the whole. Every single one of us is a fractal of the whole, right? So, and that's how, you know, from a quantum perspective, how our focus, our, you know, sending calming or light and love or neutrality to a certain area in the world, that does make a difference. We feel helpless, but when you look at it at a quantum level, we're all a fractal of the whole. So it does impact.
Oh, yeah.
Right? But when you continue to look at this and you're willing you're really willing to look. That's kind of the key. Most of us want to go, la, 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 not me, right? It's like, oh, no, that's got to be the other person that's causing that rift. So it's a deep dive into really owning your own stuff.
The inner marriage. It's getting to know yourself so intimately that is birthed within you, that intimacy that you seek from others or outside of you.
Yeah. And, it's not 100% always an inner, reflection. There is a lot of craziness going on in the world. And sometimes, things are just happening as a result of, the magnetic shifting out. But you start to really be able to dive in. Being that quantum detective is a skill set that I really encourage everyone to master, or at least attempt to master, right? Yeah. Really be willing to look at, why the hell did I stub my toe? Right? I had a client today, beautiful. Thank you. I'm going to share this. I didn't ask her, but I'm not going to mention her name. She had been doing some energy work, and when she stood up, her ankle went and she sprained her ankle. And it's like, oh, there you go. She's like, what does that mean? You weren't in your body. Mm-hmm. You got to embody it all the way down. You got to be fully grounded. So what did you do? You sprained your ankle. Closest thing to your foot as you can get, right?
Right back in, yeah.
Right. Why did I break my toe, right? Oh, well, you're not grounded enough. And most of us light workers, we don't like to be in our body. We don't want to even be in our body. Most of us have spent most of our lifetimes really, I won't say, let me get my words very clear here. Many of us have really not wanted to be in our body because on some level, we understood the density and the craziness that was going on here, and we didn't feel safe. Mm-hmm. And that was justified, right? But as a result, many of us have never even really been in our body. We have spent our whole life out of our body, right? Just kind of manipulating this little avatar thing here that we call a body. We really are not skilled at coming into the body. And so watching that as well, and really being willing, okay, what's coming up for me when I really get into my body? Because most of us want to scream and run, right? We don't want to be in our bodies because it's dense here. It's painful. It's kind of scary because we're used to much higher refined frequencies of light. Mm-hmm. So, that being willing to really look at, and then realize, this is another piece that I really want to reiterate for people. Many of us, many of us, and probably everybody listening here, we're a team and we're working on collective energies. So we're also being asked to dive deep into collective energies that aren't necessarily just ours, that we, feel guilty about, or how come I couldn't, blah, 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 right? I should have evolved beyond that. We're also being asked to clear for the collective so that we can get into a higher frequency and anchor in the higher magnetics. And let's face it, there's maybe 5 million, maybe 10 million light workers and semi-light workers on the planet out of 8.5. We've got a big job to do. So, when we go in and sometimes we're doing this balancing act and clearing, it's an act of service for humanity.
Right.
So it's not always just about things that you've experienced or haven't done right in this lifetime, right? You have to go beyond that even as well. So.
There's a lot of ascensionary energy that I've been feeling. And again, it's been polarizing as well. So even last week, I felt this pull, and it came from both the lower energy frequencies and how I was kind of spinning in that, but also a pull into the higher frequency simultaneously. And it had me spinning like a top. And it was this elastic thing that was going on. I was like, how do I get in my body? Someone slow me down for just a second so I can catch myself in that. What's going on with that? I talked to a lot of people that were having similar experiences. What's happening there?
That is you specifically, and the collective specifically, that one.
Specifically,
sorry. Working to unlock from the lower magnetics. And it's physical. I mean, there have been times it's like I have to hold on to the damn walls.
Yeah.
To walk across my house, I gotta go lay down. I gotta go lay down now. Because again, it's a very physical process. So the spinning oftentimes, and you were feeling both, you were trying to unlock from the lower magnetics that are literally changing on this planet. This is not a metaphor. It's actually happening, right? And our bodies, our energetic systems, our chakras, our central column, our nervous system, all overlays on the planetary. We connect into the planetary body. That's how it works, right? So as she goes through these earthquakes and fires and volcanoes and all of these kinds of things that are happening quite regularly, damn, we can feel it. We can feel it pretty profound. And as big pieces of the grid systems come undone, it's like, whoa, hold on, what's going on? Whoa, I'm spinning. I don't know what this is. And you don't necessarily have to, except recognizing that, wow, okay, your body's trying to unlock from one and come into a higher resonance. And I need to get in my heart and breathe. I need to go down into my base chakra. I need to get in my body. I need to feel this. Even though I'm spinning, I need to be present, right? And there are times when it's just like you get knocked out. Your body, your consciousness level cannot stay awake. It's much easier for you to unlock from big pieces a lot of times when you're conscious, or when you're unconscious. So if you're sitting there going, okay, I'm trying to be fully in my body, and it's like, oh no, I gotta lay down. And that and bless you guys. I know I'm super blessed, because I mean that happened 2 hours before this show started. It's like, okay, I gotta go out. We're getting ready to pull something really big in, and I went out solid for an hour.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm here. Okay, I'm back. Ooh, okay. Ooh, I'm not sure what we did, but I was sure it had to do with the equinox and the show and the people in the show and whatever we were getting ready to pull through. So that awareness, and just knowing that it is the magnetics, knowing that it's nothing to be, I don't want to say scared, but scared, because it can feel, it can knock you on your ass.
It was disorienting.
Yes.
I felt it last week.
Yeah. And and to not be concerned, stay in your heart and recognize we are completely unlocking from an old magnetic paradigm. And it is not a metaphor. It is very physically real what is happening at the cellular, at the subatomic, at the chemical and electrical levels of your body. And we're feeling, there's times when my feet just cramp. They like curl, my toes curl, because the magnetics or whatever I'm pulling through is like, whoa, it's like I got hit by lightning sometimes. It's like that magnetic pull. We are magnetic in nature and we feel it. And so to not be, a lot of people are like, oh shit, I gotta go to the doctor. No, No, follow your own intuition with that. But for the most part, 90% of what we're feeling is truly the ascension process. And whether it's, geez, why is that elbow hurting? What the hell's going on with why is my elbow locked up? Right? We're a fractal of the whole. You may be feeling that because you've got a big piece that you're helping to unlock that happens to be stored in that part of your anatomy. I mean,
right.
Talk about a freak show, right? It's like, what are you talking about? But that is truth. We all hold certain things, and we're working collectively and individually.
Yeah, I've had experiences, Raquel, where I could see and feel my telomeres expanding and rethreading and going through this chafing process, kind of like wheat, and accessing something different than connecting neurochemically in a whole different way. I've had visions of that, and I know it's really happening.
Yes, it
the
is.
Information that comes through when we just breathe into our awareness of our allowance, because it's happening anyway, but just our awareness, our
you
saying,
can either go la la la, or you can tap in and know and want to be a part of it,
right,
and not be afraid of it, and actually lean into it.
Oh, being a part of it. Thank you. Yes.
You're a part of it. You're a big part of it. If you're listening to John's show and you're tapping into my show, you are a part of this. You are a player, right? You're a player. And yes, we're here to do the inner journey, which is uno numero uno. I can't even talk tonight, but we're starting to spin right now. I can feel it really in the fields. It is individual, but it's so much more this time around. It's so much more this time around. And you're a part of that. And we need you. We need you to be a part of it. We need you to be stepping into these higher levels and being able to hold that balance. We need you to recognize that I'm spinning and, oh, geez, something big is going on. And I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's not even just the people on the planet. Everything that is alive, all life, the trees, it's all going through it, right? So, that's why a lot of people, get out of nature. Absolutely. Get your feet on the ground. If, you're lucky, I'm looking at your back escape right there. It's like, oh, if I could just go put my feet in the sand at the beach, that would be fabulous. But that connection, and really trying to get that level of connection on a daily basis. Not always possible for those that live in the snow or those that are in concrete cities, right? But you can even imagine it. You can sit in your house and wiggle your toes in your shag rug and go, ooh, I'm connected into the ocean, which I do a lot because I don't have a sandy beach nearby. But I use that recall and that tactile to really get me into connecting in the beaches that I've been. I can transport myself back there and tap in, right? I can, for people who love to be out in the grass, you can do the same thing. Your intention will get you right there. But tap into the planetary body and get out of the chaos. And one of the things I've been teaching for thousands and thousands of hours in my lifetime on this planet, disconnect from the mass consciousness grids. That used to be really important a decade ago. It is beyond uber important now. I mean, it's so far beyond important right now. And people are like, well, how do you do that? Intentionally. And
that's where the balance of the feminine and masculine comes in. That masculine part of us that says, no, I'm going to choose this. I'm going to direct here. As the feminine is surrendering into receiving the flow of the ascensionary energy. It's like we have to take ownership. We have to learn how to take ownership in those aspects of us that can really command where energy is going to be within ourselves.
And the surrender, that's a hard one. I don't care who you are on the planet. That's a hard one. And then if you have a more masculine temperance, if you will, which I tend to have. I'm masculine in my energies. I'm a go-getter. Let's get it done. Let's get this done. Let's hurry up. I want to plan. I've had to learn how to surrender
Mm.
and just be in the now moment, which is another big piece of this, which is getting out of the ego and getting out of the egoic mind mechanism that controls the reptilian brain, which is completely plugged into the current magnetics on the planet.
Yeah.
And so that flow of really knowing, okay, I'm going to specifically disconnect from the chaos out there. I'm going to drop into my heart. I'm going to realize that this is an ongoing evolutionary process, that we will have a celebrated massive shift. It's not always just going to constantly be do the work. And we're getting a lot closer, guys, really a lot closer. But it is a daily, you have to be willing to really drop in, set your intention. I always do, my wording is always the highest potential, and then surrender. I put it out to the universe. I put it out to the quantum field from my heart. And then you surrender into what's going on, because if you try to fight it, if you try to control it, even, all you can control is your responses. It's all you can control. How clear your body is and how you're responding to the energy. That's it. That's all you got. You may think you have more control, but you don't. And that's the ego, right? We think, because we've been raised, you have to push, you have to go, get it done. That's the human way, right? For the most part, what we've been trained, really indoctrinated into. And this surrender of, this is a natural process. Our bodies actually know how to do this. It's not necessarily comfortable.
No, it is not. Yeah.
But our body intelligence knows how to do this. And to not fight that, to surrender into that, to do whatever we can to come back into that balance, to recognize when we're being too aggressive, or when we're being too emotional, or when we're being, and it goes way beyond that in the body systems, right? What's happening in your body. I have had sinus issues, and everybody goes, oh, that's allergy. Well, no, actually the sinus has been, it's tied into the feminine, because I'm working to help balance the feminine on a pretty big scale, right? So it's even that, right? It's like, okay, how many things can I throw at my body to try to get this to stop? It's not going to stop. I can manage it, and I can be aware that that's what's happening and try to make myself comfortable during the process, but the body's going to clear. The stuff is going to happen that continues to bring our own physiology into that state of balance. The nervous system, right? The nervous system is a big one. That's why meditation is so important, right? Being able to go into that heart and really calm everything down. And I'm constantly upgrading my nervous system. And that's part of the work I do with the energy work that I do, upgrading people's nervous systems, because the nervous system is what runs the frequency into the intelligence of the higher mind, which allows the expansion of consciousness. Right?
That affects our neurochemistry, it affects our cells, it affects our DNA. There's a whole activation that takes place as we continuously upgrade and have awareness of the nervous system as the conduit for the access that we have more and more relationship with.
And we're so, because of the magnetics, because of the noise, because of the EMFs, because of the crazy, our nervous systems are in constant overload.
Oh yeah.
And so that going within and that silence is really important. And in that, really focusing on balancing both sides. And again, a lot of people, particle, anti-particle, that gets them out of all the dogma and the mind games of male and female, right? It gets it down to the adamantine particle of really what's going on in the body. So it's a place of neutrality with that word, with that wording, right? For a lot of people, that feminine and masculine is really polarized still in their minds, because it is in the reality. It's in the template of the planet, right? Of what's playing out. So and that,
what I'd like to do, I want to take everybody to your special offer, because for this also, it's an environmental complexity as well, because as we immerse in what's more aligned with that highest, like you said, calling the highest next that's available for you, as we put ourselves in circumstances and an energetic field that is conducive for that, it really allows for the balance to happen at a much more easeful way. And the awareness that we have in it really helps to expedite our consciousness by being aware of what we're carrying within. So wherever we're calibrated just a little bit off, we'll feel the response so much more quickly, but not only just feel it, but take action on it. It's like, oh, this is off, but I know why. And so we tend to center ourselves that much more quickly in alignment with our highest truth, which we have access to, but the distortion kind of keeps us in the doubt or the fear or the not thinking that we really can access it, and we can. So before it gets too late, and I want to make sure if anybody needs to jump off the call, I want to be sure that everybody has access to this, which includes a fast action bonus as well. So April's typed in the link in the chat box. So you guys click on the chat box and it'll open up the special offer page. I think April's typed it in. Let me double check.
Yeah, she did.
Awesome. You guys click on that. If you don't find it for whatever reason, you can always go to beyondtheordinaryshow.com/Raquel26 and it'll take you to the same page. And Raquel, I'm actually going to share my screen because I want to start y'all on the page, on this part of the page. Let me see why it won't let me do this. Here we go. I'll start on the page as to not the chat box, but on how this package works, which is at the bottom of the page. But really, Raquel, why did you set it up this way? What are people receiving and how does this work?
Well, first and foremost, my work is really physical. And I wanted to really spell this out for people because they kind of get caught off guard. Because I do work at a cellular level and it will cause physical clearings for a lot of people, right? So I set it up that it is, you can't do it back to back to back to back to back. Your body, this is upgrades for your body. And your body cannot upgrade that fast. I'm sorry. I don't care if you think you're Superman. It takes certain times because we're still in carbon base, because we're still operating. It's still connected into this reality. So it takes time. So I set it up that this is each one of these activations, there's 6 activations, almost 6 hours worth of work here. So, but I set it up that you do it about you do one and give yourself 2 or 3 days at minimum, sometimes even a week, right? Yeah. To actually, because if you're just going to plow through them and you're not going to get the purpose of the work. You're not going to be able to embody it. The whole key is the embodiment of it, not just listening. And the activations are, they're, I'm telling you what's going on. I'm telling you what's happening in the body. It's very, so that you have an understanding. Ooh, now we're upgrading this. Oh, this is going in. Oh, I'm talking through them. So you have a very, it's detailed. I'm telling you what's going on. So, and I do that specifically as well, because oftentimes people feel it and then I say it and then, ooh, I felt it. Oh, I am tapped in. Whoa. Okay. I'm getting what she's doing. So that's the reason that these particular ones are done this way. But I recommend putting one out or doing one no more than once every 3 days, but a week is even better. Wow. And you can repeat that one multiple times during that week if you want to. You go, because every time you do it, it goes deeper. It goes deeper. It goes into a different level. but definitely don't do more than one every 3 days, or your body is going to be thrown into a ascension cleanse. And those can be a little harsh.
Yeah.
Right. And so, but there's 6 incredible activations here that are, again, bringing, I'm trying to move it on my screen. So cute. The first one, recoding your fields for clarity and strength. And when I'm talking about the strength, I'm talking about being able to hold your fields in the real world. I'm talking about really being able to go out into the world and not get bombarded by everything that's going in. So it strengthens that up. So that's the first one in this, which really also talks into the bone libraries, starting to access your own Akash and your own bone libraries. You hold all of your own information in your bones, right? Oh, yeah. So the next one, upgrading your bioelectrical system again. So first, you go and you get that strength, and you come in and we upgrade the nervous system. And again, the nervous system will continue to go through multiple upgrades. It has to. It's not a one and done. I've replaced my own nervous system energetically probably 1,000 times.
I know you've helped me like upgrade mine as well. And even where I burned out chakras and they needed to be reactivated as well. That's something that's real. And if we don't reactivate them and bring them back up to par, it can really derail that part of our ascensionary journey.
Yeah, absolutely. So I call this one kind of like the pit stop. It was kind of or the one before was a pit stop. And this goes in working with, again, your higher multidimensional organs. All of your organs were originally designed to be multidimensional, and we'll keep upgrading them. The third one on this is, I love this one. I love when I do cosmic acupuncture. It's so freaking cool. I mean, I love doing it when this comes into play. And this one is literally talking about working with the galactic and earth stars. These are part of your own light body and your own energetic body, but they're interfaces. So they're like communication interfaces between the earth and between things coming in from the galactic center. So this one really helps to awaken that. The next one is the dance of inner and outer crystalline communication. Don't you love my titles? I always have to sit there for a while and go, okay, what should I call this one? And again, this was literally working, again, spinal column, your organs, your glands, to upgrade the body, because the body has to be able to facilitate and hold higher frequencies of light. Has to. So, and this also worked with the data bank of your atlas.
What is that?
The atlas is one of the smallest bones in your body. It's the one that keeps your head and your neck. And it is just, it's right behind what I also call the ascension chakra, master key switch. There's, lots of names for it. But the atlas is the technical bone in the body. And that one just opens that up. So again, that nervous system interface can start flowing more information correctly for you to have a conscious experience of it. Okay. The fourth one, or the fifth one, expanding the interface of your brain hemispheres. Again, now we've upgraded all of that. We got to get both sides working together. Again, this is about the balance again, right brain, left brain. Again, that's all back to sacred union. Okay, the balance. And of course, the left brain, your masculine side that does the right side of your body, and the right side of I always get, no, that's right. The right side of the brain to the left side of the body, which is the feminine, right? And you'll notice too, sometimes when you're doing this work, when you're out of balance, one side of your body will hurt more than the other. You'll have pains and aches. I have quite a few right now on the right side, because so much is trying to come, on the left side, because so much of the feminine is trying to come online planetary right now. And I feel that very much in my body. right? Bright side's fine. So right now on the planet, the divine feminine is trying to come back onto balance, and that has been happening for a really long time, but there's specific things happening right now through this equinox energy that's doing another layer of that recalibration for the divine feminine. So and the final one, again, the inner erogamous union begins. Erogamus, potato, again, just how you want to pronounce that. But this then starts to really bring that balance into play for yourself inside your own biosuit, inside your own physical body. And so that's the sixth one in there again. And all of these, what I love about the activations, every time you go in and do it, it meets you where you are in that now moment. Oh. So even if you came back at the end of the year, go, oh, I want to do this one again. It will meet you where you've evolved to and bring you to another level. It's really quite fascinating. But then I do have that. It's a quick action. If you take quick action, tomorrow is the equinox. So yes. if you do purchase this package before my activation begins tomorrow, we're going to throw in a 90-minute equinox activation that is taking place tomorrow. So, which is going to be a doozy. I can feel it already.
Yeah, this is big energy coming through all of this.
Yeah.
All of this is big energy. And again, what's activated through the chakra sensors, attuning to the nervous system, attuning to the intelligence that's within our bodies, and how that's acclimating into a higher consciousness of intelligence. It's the merging of all those fields coming into union. And I love the way that you've set this up for the integration.
And also, the bone libraries.
Yeah.
Starting to access your own bone libraries even more and more and more as well. And I don't know that a lot of people know that, they have their own bone libraries.
What's been your experience of your bone libraries?
That's a loaded question. We could go 3 more hours with that one, John. But it's about remembering lifetimes that aren't necessarily here. Aspects of myself that are playing out, being able to be more conscious of me right here and me in another state, in another dimension, on a different planet simultaneously. Do I hold those for long periods of time? No, but long enough to know, oh, okay, something's integrating here. Let's go back. We're pulling these back into union. We're bringing it back into what happens is you start to be aware of other aspects of yourself that are ready to integrate and embody and come into that unity, come into that balance back within. And so that's a lot of what the bone libraries start to do, because the bone library holds information about all of your incarnations.
Yeah. Again, our body is so encoded with intelligence, and it's about going within, receiving from without, but then going within and having relationship, merging the energies. And then by being in intimacy with it, really being able to have a conscious translation of how it's affecting this human form and decisions that we make, and the ripples that creates, not only for ourselves, and not just for this planet, but really across the cosmos.
Yeah.
And across time.
Nothing happens in singularity.
Yeah.
We are all connected. And, that's the unity consciousness. And yet when I talk about unity consciousness, I'm not talking about, oh, I got to love my neighbor across the street, no matter what he is. No, what I talk about unity consciousness, it's talking about really coming into that balance, that sacred union, that union with source. And as I do that, then I breathe it out, and then it affects the whole field.
Yeah.
Because I'm a fractal of the whole. Right? That's why it's always the inner work first. And it's like people go, but that's not really making a difference. Well, it is, It's just your ego that wants to see a bigger understanding of what that's playing, right? That's the ego. But if we understand you really are a fractal of the whole, we're all in this together.
Mhm.
And as the light workers that are here, the ground crew that I've called us forever, we're working in concert together, and every single person matters.
Yeah.
You matter. As you're sitting in your little house in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of COVID, and you can't get together, your work on yourself matters because it strengthens the collective field.
Beautiful.
So
Everybody on the call, I hope you participate in this. If you haven't done Raquel's activations before, this feels like it's gone to a whole nother level. I've experienced them in the past, but again, she's not joking. It's like, do these and allow the integration to take place. And when you do that, you really receive the maximum benefits. And you'll also be very honoring of the shifts that are happening in your body and your mind simultaneously, because they will be, and you'll be experiencing perhaps during the day in your relationships, at night where you're sleeping. And the other side of it, it's just more access to yourself, again, in that balance and intelligence of that sacred union.
And really being.
Yeah.
Being and living from the heart, and being that solid, energetic container that affects everyone who comes into your fields.
Right.
It's like, when someone who's really got their act together walks into your presence, you can feel it, and that affects your fields. That's what we're going for. We are the way showers. We are the forerunners. We're the ones who are being asked to embody it first, so that everyone else can have an idea of what the heck they're going for, right? But we have to be the living example. And the only way to do that is embody the work and actually do the work.
Right.
And then reap the benefits, because they're there. I don't know that if I hadn't been doing this work for all these years, I'm not sure how well I would have done during 2020, 2021, with everything going on in the world. But I've stayed completely centered because I know, right? We all have that deep, 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 deep inner knowing that something big's going on. But to be able to know that, and then really walk that talk, and really be in that centered space, and then know that, that's not my normal. When I go to the grocery store and I have to go sit in my car and calm down because I got hit with everybody, that's not my normal. That's not normal, right? They're all getting affected by all the chaos and the magnetic shifts. And when I have to sit down because I'm spinning, the magnetics are changing, and I'm feeling that. So it's a beautiful dance we're going through, and a beautiful awakening that sometimes we just need some support in, and that's what I'm here for.
Or a lot of support. And again, the special offer provides so much, and then some. But special offer is at $147, and Raquel's discounted it tremendously for BTO. And with that fast action equinox call added to it, I just highly recommend it. And I hope you guys take advantage and go in and deep and gift this to yourself. So it's the links in the chat box. Click on the link, open it up. It's only $147. There's a 2 payment option on it as well, and a 30-day money back guarantee, like we have on everything, which we just put on there to make it a no-brainer, because we know the residents, we know how beneficial it's going to be. So it's rare that we have a lot of refund requests, but when they do come in, they come in without question, and they're fully honored. But you're not going to ask for this. Like I can almost guarantee you. But regardless, I hope you take advantage of it. Again, the link's in the chat box, and be on the call for the equinox call with Raquel tomorrow. What time is the call that you're having tomorrow?
Unfortunately, it's the same time yours is, but if they sign up, they get the recording immediately after, and it's just as effective.
And we have
it goes out within about 20 minutes after I end the call. Yeah. And it's, believe me, it's, people go, is it the same? Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
It's the same.
Oh yeah.
It's the same, believe me. So there's no time in the quantum. So
No, not at all. Wonderful. Raquel, I'm guided to take live calls.
okay.
If you're up for it. So
Gotcha.
let's go into some questions from the audience. And I'm promoting some of you to panelists right now as we speak. And let's see here. We have Denise come first. Denise, let's get you to unmute. And if you want to turn on your video, also it'd be wonderful to see you. Denise Helm. Find your unmute button. And there you
No, that's not Denise. That's Linda. That's Cindy.
Cindy, let's get you to come on first then. Hi, Cindy.
Hi, it's a
Hi.
pleasure. Thank you so much. So my question is I'm very drawn to this work. I ask for it. I do conferences, I do readings, I do meditations, but I also know that in some ways my third eye, I would say, is not open. And I say that in the sense of, you know, I don't have visions. I'm not going into a very otherworldly deep state of meditation, but I know I love it. I know I'm drawn to it. I've been able to put my lifestyle in a way of offering love and help, and I want to serve others. So I want to do these activations, but I also I often wonder, will it help that process? I know you're not supposed to speed it up. You know, that should come.
So yeah, so let me talk about that for just a little bit, because a lot of people don't have third eye vision open, and a lot of people have a lot of different definition of what that really means, right? And there's a lot of different pieces to this, but I'm gonna hit it really quickly. Your higher self is facilitating the opening to that at the capacity that is in your highest potential. There is a lot that's happening in the fields, in the higher realms, right? Mm-hmm. In the other dimensions that I promise you don't want to see. It's pretty dark. There's a lot happening that is playing out in those, you know, we call them a higher dimension. Doesn't mean they're more conscious. They just vibrate at a different level, right? And right now, really right now, it's almost a blessing that you cannot see it. And you need to know this, and you do, because you're already doing readings, you're doing, you know, you've changed your lifestyle, you're following your intuition. Your intuition is the inner knowing, is the most sought after that there is, because the vision can screw you up. You thought you saw something and you can't interpret it, right? The inner knowing, you know what you know in your inner knowing, and you follow that guidance because you just know, right? So the vision and the third eye vision, you know, people think, oh, you know, am I seeing that? Do I see that with my eyes closed? Do I see it with my eyes open? What am I seeing? You know, was that really an angel? Was that a grid system? And then the mental mind goes in. What am I supposed to do with that? Yeah. The inner knowing, you know it. And you follow it. And it's really the most potent of the guidances. And because the vision can be a little scary if you're tapping into something that's make you run for the hills, which is going on a lot. I won't lie. It could tap you into something you really don't understand. And then all of a sudden you're mental again. You're not supposed to be mental. You need to operate from your heart. So honor that and know that your higher self is facilitating your awakening. You are being drawn to the work and the people that resonate with you. And your higher self is getting you in front of them. You're hearing them on John's telesummit or wherever I'm on the internet, and oh, wow, what did this person, oh, I need to go down that rabbit hole. And you follow that because it's the inner intuition. So honor honor that that is the highest level, and let the rest go, and know that you are being guided perfectly if you set the intention to be 100% aligned every day, and you follow this, not this intelligence. Okay, does that help?
Yes.
Good.
Yes,
Yay.
it does. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
I had the experience quite a few years ago where I was taken into a phase shift in how I connected and my ability to see, to use my third eye to vision what was coming. And I was told that that was going to shift dramatically, that I wouldn't be able to see the trajectory for the sake of creating a future outcome of my desire, but really about being in the present moment.
Mm-hmm.
And that was really one of the biggest gifts that I could be given as a human, to really be in the presence of awe and wonder, and to not architect it based on what I believed that I was seeing. And so actually giving this third eye a rest, but again, like Raquel was saying and reiterating, allowing my heart to guide on a moment by moment basis. So the shoulds of activating it, if you have a closed pineal gland, again, you want to activate it, and Raquel's work will help you to open and to rotor, if you will, whatever blocks may be coming in, so that you're functioning with your chakras in alignment, balancing, because that is part of the balancing of the feminine and the masculine, but not for the sake of what it should be, but for the sake of what's unfolding, that, to be honest with you, most of us aren't aware of, because it's so new in our human evolution.
Yeah.
So it's huge. Yeah.
But also, just remember that inner knowing is the most coveted, is the highest level. And to be able to do that without, I got to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then you're really following divine.
All right, Cindy, thank you so much for calling.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I am very honored.
Wonderful to see you. All right, let's go on to our next caller. Linda, let's go to you now.
Hi, Linda.
5'9" Linda.
Hi. Nice to talk to you. Thank you very much for picking on me. I appreciate it very much. So does this also lead to you being able to recognize when other spirit guides and people who have passed on are more aware of you, or you become more aware of them?
Okay, help me frame that, John. I'm not quite sure what you're asking, Lynn. Does this work do that? Is that what you're asking?
Yes.
If it is in highest alignment for you.
Okay.
Everything that is being done, is it in the highest potential for you? Sometimes that's yes, sometimes not so much. So if it is aligned for you to start experiencing people who have passed, if that is one of the skill sets and gifts that you're destined to come into, absolutely.
Okay.
Right? If not, if that's not really aligned for you, the biggest takeaway is always ask to be what is 100% aligned for you, because that's your ego thinking that that's going to prove something to you, or that's going to be a skill set that you want, versus following what your higher self really has aligned. Does that make sense? Because not everybody is, destined to see dead people, right? What's that line from the movie Sixth Sense? I see dead people. Sorry, I went there. But not everybody. That's not everybody. That's not what everybody's here to do. It may be a side effect or a side benefit if it's aligned for you.
Okay.
Right?
Well, Raquel, as an archetype, or to give presence to an intelligence that we're receiving, again, we can feel it coming from guides, from something outside of ourselves, from people, from family members who have passed away, or ascended masters of the galactics. And I think Linda's referring how that this connection, or this expansion that we're all tapping into, affects that aspect of ourselves.
Well, and again, if it's aligned, if the timing is right.
Okay.
Honestly, because sometimes yes, it will help you tap into it if it is in the highest alignment for you.
Okay,
Hmm.
got it.
If
Alright.
it's in the highest alignment for you.
Because I can feel sometimes.
Okay, perfect. And so if if that is, and they're already coming in and you're feeling that, this will refine the ability to have that connection and communication.
Okay,
Not that you're going to have a conversation necessarily, but that you will be able to, again, have a different sense of what, a purer sense of what's actually coming in and why. Because it's it's the tapping into it, but why? Right? What's the purpose?
Right.
Is it aligned for you? What are you supposed to be receiving from that? And this will definitely open you up to be able to receive that information of why it's coming through.
okay,
And that's the goal, right?
yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right,
Thank you
Lynn.
very much.
Thanks for
Thank
calling.
you, John.
Of course.
It's key, you guys. If it's in the highest potential alignment for you, that's the key. Everybody should be setting that intention every day to be 100% aligned with your highest potential and what is aligned for you. That's one of the biggest key takeaways of everything.
Wonderful.
Because
All right.
you're keeping it as it is to unfold for you.
Yeah, I think what also happens, and there's a dependence that gets created on accessing guides, accessing outside of ourselves. And sometimes when we hear trips, a lot of times it's because we have it within ourselves, and even the guidance, our inner guidance is calling, tap into you, tap into what you know. And the masculine is saying, and take action into what's being given. Because we can ask, and still get the same messages. And then it goes blank because you already know.
I have always been, and John, you can back me up on this. You've known me for a very long time. I'm always about connecting you with you. I'm not about connecting you to this group or that group, although sometimes they do come in, and the access level has been greatly improved in the last 6 months. But I'm always about connecting you with your higher intelligence, your connection to source, and nothing more, because that's all you need.
And it's you and source. You get a direct connection instead of the middleman in between. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you, Linda. All right, let's go on to another caller here. Matt, welcome to the call. And let's get you to unmute, Liz. There you go.
I just unmuted now, yes.
Matt.
Hello, Raquel. Thank you. I find all this very interesting. I seem to be in the midst of a lot of chaos and turbulence. I've had just a lot of clients canceling, getting sick, potential jobs falling through, and I feel like I'm not where I'm supposed to be, but I have no idea how to what direction to take, or how to
Yes. You are in the middle of transition, and you're trying to hold on to what has been when you're being asked to step into something new. And I know that sounds very cryptic, but you just described it exactly. Your clients are canceling, jobs are falling through because it's not aligned. So, and that chaos then takes you into your brain, it takes you into fear and panic, and they didn't show up, and what am I going to do? And that's the human old response. And what I'm getting really clearly for you is you need to drop into your heart and ask to be realigned and to be shown what's next. Because
how do I drop into my heart?
Pardon?
How do I drop into my heart?
Okay. I have a whole technique on that. It's a learned practice. It is not a one and done again. This is a skill set of training a muscle. Okay. But you have to be able to get out of your, and I'm sorry, and I'm going to say it, and this is the polarization that's happened on the planet, but men tend to be much more mental, right? Because you're action oriented, and that's the way you were raised and programmed, right? But you have to be able to take that intelligence questioning and actually listen from this part of your body. And most people roll their eyes at me and go, what the hell my best friend, how the hell do I listen from my heart? I don't know how to do that. How do I drop into my heart? She yelled at me, not yelled, but she's like every day, I don't understand this. I don't get this. She's very mental. And then it's like, keep dropping down. You have to listen from this intelligence, not this intelligence, this intelligence. And I'm pointing right here to your high heart. You drop down, and I use an elevator technique. I have it on, I think I'll have Kim put it in with the offer as well. And John, maybe we can send it out as a special, I don't remember what I gave as my free gift, but operating from the heart. And there's a technique, if you gather up your mental consciousness and you actually move it down and you start practicing of listening from this part of your body, because this is the central processing unit. Where you're listening, where you listen to me right now is from the top of your head, your brain. I want you to listen from here. Drop your consciousness down into your heart. Close your eyes for a minute. Put your hand on the heart. Everybody do this. Okay. Take a deep breath. And we'll go through this process. I want you to imagine, pretend, whatever word works for you, that you are throwing a golden net of light. Close your eyes, Matt. I'm watching you. You're in the hot seat. Close your eyes, and I want you to throw a net like you're fishing, because we know that our consciousness isn't just in the brain, it's all around us, it's in the field. So you're going to throw out a wide net, and you're going to gather up your conscious mind, your thinking, thought process mind. And then you're going to kind of bring that net in, that golden light net in. And for 99% of the people on the planet, you're going to find that mostly in your head. And I want you to take that net that holds your conscious thought processes and mental processes, your consciousness. And I want you to put that in an elevator at the 10th floor. And with your next breath, I want you to see the elevator doors close. And with your next breath, I want you to push the button to the 1st floor. And I want you to ride your consciousness down into where your hand is in your anatomy, in your body. And when the elevator hits the 1st floor and the doors open up, your consciousness is now operating from that anatomy. It is literally the central processing unit of your body. That is where the original higher intelligence was meant to operate through in our original divine blueprint. And with your eyes still closed, then you ask the question, what do I need to be doing? How do I come into alignment? And if you find yourself back in your head, you do the same process again, and you bring your consciousness down into your heart until you hear an answer from that space of your body. And this takes practice. And for years, I put massive elephant ears on my high heart, so that I would remember to listen, not with my ears in my head, but the ears of my high heart. And it made me laugh, so it was easier. I could drop into it. Anything silly brings me back into my heart really easy. And that's where I need to operate from. And when I first started doing this, Matt, I was doing it 300, 400 times a day. Every time I caught myself in my head, oh, Let's drop in. Go down to my heart. This is where I need to be asking for the right intelligence from source energy. Not my monkey mind, but my intelligence that is connected to source. And that is where you're going to find your answer. And you need to ask, what am I being asked to step into? Because whatever's happening in your life right now is no longer in alignment. Your clients are not showing up. Your job is not, it's falling through. So you need to upshift and move into the next level of where you're being guided. And the only way you're going to know what that is if every day, multiple times a day, you go down into your heart and you ask the question, and then you sit in non-judgment and wait for the answer. And if you don't get it, it's like, oh, okay, well, I'll try again in 5 minutes. I'll try again in half an hour. Because it's there, you just can't hear it yet because you're not trained to listen from that part of your anatomy. We have been hardwired to disconnect us from source. And we're repairing those pathways. And we're bringing our body back online to actually operate completely differently. Everybody take a nice deep breath. That's a good technique for everyone.
Beautiful. And again, to calibrate even more deeply into this and to hear those tones from that place of that sacred heart and that wisdom, the special offer, again, it's the
Yep.
keep increasing. So again, the link, April, if you don't mind, put the link for the special offer in the chat box again. Y'all can access the special offer there. And again, the fast acting bonus to get the equinox call for tomorrow also is there. $147, 2 payment option on that as well. And someone wrote in and said that had a difficulty with the link. If you're not clicking on it and for some reason it's not opening, open up a new browser and type in beyondtheordinaryshow.com/Raquel26. It'll take it to the same exact page, but the link should work. In case it doesn't, for whatever reason, it's not linking through, it'll just happen. Or email April at beyondtheordinaryshow.com and she'll help you get access as well. But you should be able to access it with those links. The time tomorrow for the equinox call is at 5 p.m. Pacific time. So you can catch the replay of Beyond the Ordinary afterwards, or catch the replay of Raquel's, whichever one you're drawn to. But that's available there. And Raquel, it's 3:33 my time. I can't think of a better way to end in this connection and this process of the golden net to lead us into that heart knowing. So Matt, I want to thank you for bringing that into the stream of consciousness for all of us. And brother, that you just rest and relax and receive the love of self from that space and keep practicing. You'll come to know it so well if you just give yourself the time and the patience to remember to keep coming back to it. It will show up, I promise.
Patience. And I think a lot of you can feel, even when John was talking, I'm starting to really move the last bit of energy. I always can work at a big collective like this, and all of you that have been present and been listening, I have been working on your fields to help open it up and allow you to understand and drop deeper into a knowing of this, just like Cindy, knowing. You already know, follow your intuition, follow that gut instinct. So, but if you see me doing, little body movements here, I'm just moving quite a bit of energy right at the end. So thank you all for joining today. Thank you for having me on, John. I just love to come on and play.
Yeah, it's so much fun. And again, thank all of y'all, the consciousness that you're carrying it and the way that you're integrating the intelligence. It activates me on this side as well, as I see the nuances. I can feel the shifts of so many people on this call, whether you're receiving it, you're not receiving, you're maybe I'm saying something that's contradictory to you, but in all of that, this intelligence within all of us, we're stimulating each other. So again, I just have to bow to each and every one of you and namaste. And thank you so much for joining us and for activating me and everybody else on this call. And Raquel, so much fun to be with you, and thank you for what you're sharing and your generosity and the special offer also, because that was quite the special offer. I felt.
We're all just here in service. So thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Everyone have a good night. Happy equinox, and we'll see you on the other side. Aloha.
Blessings, everyone. Bye.